If you are suffering from urinary tract or bladder infections and you want to know how to stop them naturally and prevent them from returning, you clicked on the right video. Hi, I'm Dr. Cori Stern. Welcome to my channel, Take Control of Your Health. If you haven't yet had a chance to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button now. And if this video helps you, please hit the like button so more people can find it. And last and most importantly, please make sure to share this video with anyone you know that you think would benefit from this information. So urinary tract or bladder infections are something that I very commonly see in my practice. Women are more at risk, so I see more women that have them, but I do see men with them as well. So let's talk about, first, I want to make sure you know what a urinary tract or bladder infection is and differentiate it from some other similar conditions. So sometimes you think that you have a urinary tract infection because you have symptoms like burning when you pee or pain in your bladder or urgency, or feeling like you need to go and nothing's coming out. Okay, so that could very well be a urinary tract or bladder infection, but it can also be urinary tract inflammation. Those are two different things. One involves bacteria, the other one is just more like severe irritation of your tissue. So the difference being that in women, the opening to the urinary tract is called the urethra, and it can get irritated by various things. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. And when it gets irritated, you can have symptoms like pain or burning, and it's not necessarily an infection. It doesn't really matter that much because with natural treatment, we're going to do the exact same thing. I also want to differentiate it from a vaginal yeast infection. A lot of women get these things mixed up. So you have two different openings. The vaginal opening sometimes can get a yeast or fungal infection, and then you have discharge that looks like cottage cheese versus the urinary tract, which the opening is the urethra, and that goes to the bladder, which goes to the kidneys. Okay, so two different systems, two different issues, two different handlings. So we're not talking about vaginal yeast infections in this video. We can do that on another video. So the reason why women are more at risk for urinary tract or bladder issues is simply because the urethra opening is right on the surface, where in men it's more internal. So women are more at risk for irritating it or introducing pathogens directly into the urethral opening. So some of the most common causes that I see, number one, something people don't think about too much, but the use of feminine hygiene products when you're menstruating. So sanitary napkins can cause irritation of the urethra. Tampons can cause pressure on the urinary tract itself, right? Anytime you put anything that occupies space into small holes, it causes a mechanical pressure, which can then lead to irritation or inflammation. Make sure that your sanitary products are organic. If you're using sanitary napkins or tampons, make sure they're organic at least. Okay, so that's one common cause. Certain positions during sex are more irritating to the urethra than other positions. So you have to make sure that you're not feeling irritated during sex by whatever position you're in. Of course, it's important. Most women know this, but it's worth mentioning. Make sure that you've emptied your bladder before having sex, because pressure on a full bladder can irritate the urinary tract and the bladder. And I recommend that you rinse off after sex, just so you cool everything down and reduce inflammation. Pathogens usually like warm environments. The next common cause of urinary tract infections is a high sugar diet. Sugar causes inflammation. It also feeds pathogens. I have a video about handling sugar cravings if you need help with that. Also, if you have diabetes. So when you have diabetes, you have sugar traveling around your bloodstream, and it makes you more prone to infections in general. Next, having taken too many antibiotics or taking them frequently will suppress your immune system and cause bacterial overgrowth of the bad guys. So I have a history of frequent urinary tract infections all through actually started my childhood, 20s, 30s. I was getting them really every month, and I was on antibiotics every month. And when I finally learned what I now know and stopped the antibiotics, that's when my urinary tract issues stopped happening. And I did all natural treatment. So make sure you stay to the end of the video. I'm going to go over my favorite natural products that I actually take every day. But I just want to mention too, even if you're not taking antibiotics, if you're eating meat that's been treated with antibiotics, if you're eating dairy from cows that have been treated by antibiotics, you are getting those into your body. So you need to make sure you're eating the best quality foods, grass-fed, no antibiotics, no hormones. Also, if you happen to live near a confined animal feeding operation, there's a lot of antibiotics in the ground, soil, and the water. So there's actually studies that show that people that live near these confined feeding operations, which is the raising of the commercial animals for food, have higher incidences of frequent urinary tract and bladder infections. So you really, really need to protect yourself even more if you live near these sites. Dehydration can make you more prone to urinary tract and bladder irritation and inflammation. So it's important to stay hydrated, and the water that's coming out from the kidneys into the bladder, through the urinary tract and out your urethra, flushes out the bad stuff. Okay, so you have to make sure that you're drinking enough water, that you're having a nice elimination of urine. In men, the most common cause of urinary tract issues is an enlarged prostate. So the prostate sits on top of the bladder and puts mechanical pressure on it. If the prostate is enlarged, it's pushing on the bladder, you'll have decreased capacity to hold urine. That's why when you have an enlarged prostate, you have to urinate more frequently. And if it gets bad enough, it can cause urinary tract or bladder infections. So we'll have to do another video on how to handle enlarged prostate naturally so that this is not happening. But enlarged prostate is extremely common in men over 50 and or even late 40s and over 50s. And what I didn't mention for women that I left out was pregnancy. So the same way that prostate sits on top of the bladder and causes irritation, the prostate is the bladder is on top of the prostate. Sorry, I don't want to. It's very confusing. It doesn't matter. An enlarged prostate is putting pressure on the bladder, and then when you're pregnant, the uterus sits on top of the bladder, and so the increased space occupying baby puts pressure on the bladder. Same scenario anatomically, pressure on the bladder can cause irritation or inflammation. And then for both genders, both men and women, bladder stones. So bladder stones can occur, they're similar to kidney stones. They especially occur when you have chronic dehydration or you're eating a bad diet. So if you're eating foods that are high in oxalates, oxalic acid, like raw cruciferous vegetables, spinach, kale, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, those are high in oxalates. And if you tend to form stones, you're going to want to avoid eating those raw. If you cook them, you're cooking most of the oxalates out of them. Okay, so those are the most common causes. Now we need to talk about what to do about it, and I'm going to go over my favorite products with you. Before I do that, I just want to send a shout out to my partner in truth, HATS, which stands for Hardcore Awakened Truth Seekers. And this movement was inspired into creation amidst hyper political division in the last few years to get away from polarization and bring people together across the political spectrum to the truth and a sense of community that allows us to move forward. This movement is making real strides in achieving this vision. They have a wonderful Telegram channel with well over 100,000 followers. If you're on Telegram, check them out. They're posting daily videos and articles and great information. They have a blog with all different kinds of articles, and I put health articles on there on a regular basis. So see if they're short, you can read these brief articles to get good information. And then they also have a store with merchandise, which is where I got my bright orange hats t-shirt. And I have lots of these t-shirts and hoodies in different colors. They have other household items. They have shoes, they have mugs, they have bags, all kinds of cool merchandise. So I would love if you would check this organization out. The links are going to be in the description of this video, and support them. So now we're going to talk about the most important products to improve your bladder and urinary tract health. Now, this is going to be whether or not it's inflamed or actually infected. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. You want to catch it as soon as possible so that if it's just inflamed, it doesn't become infected and then spread to your kidneys, which is a risk. So you want to, maybe if you have a tendency to get these types of symptoms, you want to start yourself on a protocol right away to prevent it. So as I said, I am taking all of these products because I have such a bad history. So I'm going to screen share now with some of my favorite products. And first of all, if you do have bladder stones, or if you happen to know that you get kidney stones, you can take this. It's called Royal Chunka Piedra, and it's an herb that actually helps to dissolve stones. So whether the stones are in your kidneys or bladder, or even in your gallbladder, it will help. And I take this every day. It helps also reduce your uric acid levels. And I have a whole video on uric acid and how that's an indicator of poor health. It promotes good liver function. It helps to reduce your bad cholesterol and improve your cholesterol quality. The liquid one can also help with your digestion. So it comes in both liquid and capsules. This is not something that is available on my website. However, if you would like it, you can just reach out to me at questions@drcori.com and we will get you some. It's not expensive. I will put a link to my email in the description of the video. The next one I want to talk about is called, Cranberry Complex. So Cranberry Complex is cranberry plus some herbs. There is Crotavia in it, buchu and uva ursi. All of those other herbs support bladder health and kidney health. They're antimicrobial. They help fight off E. coli, which is the most common bacteria that causes infection in the urinary tract and bladder. And uva ursi also helps with fluid retention. And cranberry helps the bacteria not to stick to the walls of the bladder. So I love this supplement. I love everything about it. I love the color of it. I love the smell. I take this every day. It also helps with bladder stones. Okay, next is Alboplex. So Alboplex is a really important supplement for bladder health. It can actually prevent infections. It also happens to help with your liver. And it has key ingredients that support bladder health. And I also take this one every single day. So it's, again, these things are not expensive. And if you have chronic infections or irritation, you can just start taking this. The next one is called Cataplex ACP. So with this company, Standard Process, my favorite nutritional supplement company, the word Cataplex means vitamin. So it's vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin P. Vitamin P is bioflavonoids, rutins, the parts of vitamin C that normally are not in vitamin C. And this is not only good for immune support, it also helps with your heart and your blood vessels. It helps to strengthen your blood vessels. So if you have bleeding gums, you probably should take this also, but it has an anti-inflammatory effect. I actually use this for any kind of inflammatory process, but definitely when somebody has urinary tract or bladder inflammation. And lastly, Bucco. Bucco is an herbal elixir, I would say, a herbal liquid extract supplement that has a whole bunch of bladder and kidney support ingredients, rupture wort and white willow bark for pain. It actually helps reduce pain. It also has buchu in it, horsetail, licorice, peppermint, all kinds of, it's a great mixture of stuff. It really helps to drain the bladder, clean it out, tonify it. So if you're having problems with leakage, incontinence, it can help. I put people that are struggling with bladder leaking, stress incontinence, I put them on this and it helps. So if you're having acute symptoms of bladder infection or inflammation, I definitely would start drinking this. You can't overdose on it. It doesn't taste too bad. I actually like the taste of it. But if you don't like it, you can just put it in water and just follow the directions on the bottle as to the dosing. This product is not available on my website. Again, I can get it to you if you need it. I have lots of it in my office. We can ship it out to you. Just reach out on questions@drcori.com. So those things that I just went over, those 5 products are my standard prevention / natural treatment. I'm telling you, catch it as early as you can before it's too late. And if you need specific help, don't hesitate to reach out to me for a virtual consult at drcori.com. Hit virtual consult request, and we can evaluate your specific situation and figure out what we need to do to specifically help you the way I got helped when I was dealing with this problem. I really hope this was helpful. Again, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button now. That is my reward for doing these videos. Don't forget to like it because it does help the algorithm and helps other people to find it. And lastly, please share this with anyone that's suffering from urinary tract or bladder issues. And please stay healthy until I see you again.